Hey guys, welcome to A Little with Monica. Today is the day to finally go over a September TBR that I have been building for a couple of weeks now and really trying to hone down because I started with a lot of books and I have narrowed it down, but I still can't believe how many books I have on this list. So let me break this down into a couple different sections. I like to kind of do this to keep myself organized. So first we're going to start with some book clubs and then go into some events, some readathons, and finally I will do my ARC section, which has become something that I'm really excited about every month, but we're gonna jump right into it. So starting off, I want to talk about the Pyramid Book Club, which is the one I run with Lexi and Michelle. And for the month of September, our pick is Haunted Ever After by Jen DeLuca. This one was one that I was personally very, very excited for. I had this pre-ordered for a long time. I've read Well Met by Jen DeLuca. Now this is a 4-book series and technically I've only read book 1 so far. I have all 4 and I just need to get around to it, but the Well Met series takes place in a Renaissance fair and like I'm obsessed with Renaissance fairs. So Jen DeLuca was definitely like an instant hit for me, and this is her newest book that just came out in August. This one is a romance about a woman who buys a cottage in order to like house flip it, but she lives across the street from a coffee shop owner who I guess can like talk to ghosts or knows that her house is haunted because weird things start to happen while she's working on it. This book sounds like it combines so many of my favorite things, ghosts and like hauntings type of vibes, but also a romance. I am here for it and I'm very excited. Like we mentioned a couple of months back in our announcement, the Pyramid Book Club is only on Discord now. We don't do like YouTube live shows anymore, but we do have channels set up for all of our monthly books so that we can chat about them there as people are reading, and it allows people to go kind of at their own pace and check in whenever like they actually get to the book. So this is our September pick, but I'm also co-hosting another book club for September. This book club is run by Melissa from Bookbar and she asked me to co-host this month along with Lexi. We're going to be reading The 5-Year Lie by Serena Bowen, and I'm really excited because the synopsis for this one sounds super interesting, where a woman has lived for 5 years believing that her ex was dead, and then she's gonna get a message that maybe suggests that it's been a lie all these 5 years. And so this sounds really, really interesting. The live show for this book club is going to be in October, so we're reading the book in September and then discussing it in October, but it means that I'm adding it on to my September TBR so that I can get to that. But now moving on to a couple of the other things that I'm participating in this month. I am so excited to be participating and being a co-host for this year's 2024 Romance Readathon. This is hosted by Maggie's Books and Stuff, and this year the theme is Phantom, the Phantom of the Opera, and I am obsessed. I love theater, I love this show, and to be able to participate in a readathon that is themed around this is so cool, but there's so much going on behind the scenes for this readathon. Make sure that you watch either my announcement video or Maggie's announcement video that has so many details on how this readathon works. I would love for you to join my team, which is the Opera Singers, and I'll get into this a little bit more too, but our 2 tropes for our team that we want to focus on are forced proximity and enemies to lovers, which are 2 of my favorites. You don't have to read those tropes in order to be on the team. It just, you get some bonus points if you do read from those tropes during the month. I will also have a separate rec video for those 2 tropes and some of the other tropes that are involved in the readathon, just so you can get an idea of some of the things that I've read or plan to read and things like that. But because it is a romance readathon, I do have a couple of romance books that I really want to focus on getting to this month, and ones that I have kind of been putting off or like wishing that I could get to, so I'm gonna put them on for September to get me into that romance spirit. But before I go into some of those books, I do want to just give a quick shout out to some of the merch that Maggie is selling. First of all, this t-shirt that I have on is one of the really, really amazing t-shirts that she's made. I also got a crew neck in it and it's so cute. I can't wait for you to see it. And then there's also some bookmarks, and I think there's a couple other ones, but these are the ones I have so far. This one, I am obsessed. The ticket concept of a bookmark, and this one just looks so stunning. And then this one is just so fun because it's true. I do love the Phantom. I do love the Phantom. So these are super fun if you like bookmarks, if you like t-shirts. But now to go into just a few of the books that I plan to hopefully get to in September among the many other books that I still have to talk about. The first one is an ARC that I've had for quite a while, and the book finally just came out, I believe, in August, and I did not get to it, and I'm really sad about that because I was really hoping that I would get to these on time. But the book is Enemies to Lovers by Laura Jane Williams, and it says it in the title. Enemies to lovers is one of my team's main tropes, so I'm hoping that this book lives up to, you know, its title with that trope, but also it just sounds like it's gonna be really fun, and it's got this kind of like G feel to the cover, so it feels like it's gonna be a fun time, so I'm gonna add this one on. And then the next book is actually, oddly enough, also an arc that I had and I didn't get to in time, and the book is already out and I purchased it for myself, and the one I'm talking about is Not Another Love Song by Julie Soto. I read Forget Me Not last year and absolutely loved it, so I was super excited to have this, and I got the arc because I was so excited, and then I ran out of time and didn't have a chance to read it before the book came out, but I have it anyway and I'm gonna read this one. This one is about rival musicians, like a violinist and a cellist, I believe, and yeah, I am about it. I was a hardcore music nerd when I was younger. I mean, still am, but I was in like every music ensemble that I could possibly join. We didn't have string orchestra, so unfortunately that's not one of the things that I am, you know, good at or know anything about, but just knowing that this is about musicians brings me so much joy and it makes me so excited to read it. And then finally, for this romance readathon, I mentioned it was Phantom of the Opera themed, and I have yet to actually read the original source material of the Phantom of the Opera, so I think I'm gonna put this one on my list. I was hoping to read it in August and I did not get to it. I had way too many other things to get to. The problem is that this one's really intimidating because it's long, it's a classic, and like those kind of intimidate me a little bit, you know? It's a lot to process. There are some retellings that I wanted to get to, which I mentioned in my announcement video, and I intend on keeping those in my TBR as well, but like there's so many options out there. I like truly don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know which ones I'm gonna pick because everybody keeps providing these new Phantom of the Opera retellings and like they all sound so good. So I will put a couple of the ones here that I had mentioned in my announcement video that I am probably going to be trying to read, but there's so many that I don't actually know what I'm gonna land on. Now we move on to the next event that I have books specifically planned for, and at the end of September, Lexi and I will be road tripping down to visit Michelle in North Carolina and go to her local indies book festival, and there are some absolutely incredible authors who are planning to be there, and so I need to read up on a couple of their titles. Some of them I already have and I just need to get to. Others I've had arcs for these books specifically, and now that they're finally coming out and I'm going to be meeting the authors, it is time to really buckle down and get some of these books read. So we are going to start with the books that are already out, ones that I've already had or have already wanted to read. The first one is An Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir. I have heard so many endlessly good things about this book and this series, and you can bet your bottom dollar that as soon as I found out that this author was going to be at this event, even though I had planned on trying to read this book at some point, I immediately got online and bought a book because I needed to read this, and if I love it, then I can take it and get it signed by the author at the event. So this one, it's a little chunkier than some of the other ones I've already had on my list, and that's a little intimidating, but I've heard so many good things about this that like, I just have to. I have to try this out. And the next one that I have physically already is Home is Where the Bodies Are by Geneva Rose. This one is the second book that I read from Geneva Rose. I really liked the first one, and so I'm excited to try this one out. I got the first edition because it looks like a VHS tape and I'm kind of obsessed with the concept, and now I'm even more excited that I'm going to get to meet her, so I'm hoping that I love this one too. And finally, the last one, and I don't have a physical copy of this one, but it's been out for quite a while, The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. TJ Klune is going to be speaking at this event as well, and so I really want to be able to read this one because I believe his new book that's coming out is connected. Maybe it's like a sequel or something to that one, so I kind of want to know what's going on when he's going to be talking about this book. I did read a little bit from TJ Klune before. I read Wolf Song and I was not a big fan, so I'm a little nervous to go into a second book with not the best foundation, but I've heard really good things about The House in the Cerulean Sea, so that makes me excited. But now the final three books for the Bookmarks event that I want to talk about are ones that thankfully I already had arcs on NetGalley for these three books and these three authors. So the first one is Devils Kill Devils by Johnny Compton. I believe this one was a read now on NetGalley and I haven't actually read it yet, so now is the perfect time to inspire me to get through this one. I've heard so many good things. I haven't read from Johnny Compton yet, but I've heard so many good things about this author and this book that I am very excited to dive into it. The next one is Haunt Sweet Home by Sarah Pinsker, and honestly the concept of this one, like I mentioned earlier, it's like kind of right up my alley. This one is about a haunted house, but the main character is kind of like brought in to fake the hauntings for this ghost hunting team, and she's gonna realize that she doesn't have to really fake it because there's actually ghosts there. And I think this story is just gonna be really, really fun, but also creepy because I love ghosts. And the final book for this event that I am really excited to get to is The Sky on Fire by Jen Lyons, and this one has been on my TBR before because it came came out, I want to say maybe July, and I had meant to get to it then, but I didn't. This one is a fantasy about dragons. I don't actually remember the plot at all, but I've heard good things about it and it makes me excited to get to it. Plus, knowing that this author's going to be there. If I can read and enjoy this copy, then it means that I have even more to be excited about for the event. The final portion of my TBR is the books that are coming out in September, and even if I don't get to them, bringing attention to them in my TBR reminds me that they're there and helps me to get to them at some point soon. The first one coming out on September 3rd is Haunt Sweet Home. So this one, first book that comes out in the month of September, so it should probably be my first priority, and I think it will be. I have two books coming out on September 10th. The first one is Sleep Tight by J.H. Markert, and I don't actually remember what this one is about, but I think it was also a read now that I read the description and said, yes, please, I would like to read it. Did I read it now? Obviously not, because it's still on my TBR, but that's okay because I will be getting to it very, very soon. And then the other book that comes out on September 10th is William by Mason Coyle, and I've had this arc for a very long time. Like months. I don't even remember how I got it or why, but I know I've had it for a very long time and haven't read it. This one is about an AI like smart house that might be too smart for its own good or something along those lines, where the creator makes this like incredible AI sentient house and like keeps it a secret. It sounds really, really good, and I remember really, really loving the synopsis, which is why I requested it in the first place. And then the last book that I have for September comes out on September 23rd, and that one is Devils Kill Devils by Johnny Compton. I admittedly have no idea what this one is about, but I will find out because I need to read it for multiple reasons this month, so it's definitely on the list. But that brings me to the end of my TBR. I know there's going to be so many books that I think of later in the middle of the month and I end up reading on a whim because I have no control, but that's my plan. These are the books that I hope to get to, especially those arcs. I really want to turn those around, but also I want to bring in plenty of romance books for the romance readathon, get my team some incredible points. This month is just going to be so full and fun, and I'm very excited for everything to come. I want to hear your thoughts. If you've read any of these books and can encourage me, please do that. Please tell me your thoughts. Get me excited to read some of these books because I just love talking about it, and I love when people are excited. It makes me more excited to read a book when I know other people have really enjoyed it. So let me know your thoughts, or if you are also really excited to read a book on my list, please let me know that as well. I would also love for some excitement for the romance readathon. Let me know what team you chose, especially if you chose the opera singers, because you chose correctly. Let me know if you're joining in and what team you chose. Don't forget to sign up in the Discord. There's no like sign up sheet or anything. You just join the Discord and you will choose your team there. So with all that said, I want to thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed hearing some of these books, and I hope you're excited about September, and I hope that I will see you in the readathon as well as some of these book club discussions as well. If you liked what you saw here and you want to see more from me, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can keep up with everything I've got coming up. So with that said, hopefully I will see you in the next video. Bye!